Okay, in the morning class we discussed the basics of projections of solids, and I insisted that in the afternoon session we need to have few more basics and then we can go for solving the problems. And now various cases in the projections of solids chapter. So we already dealt with what is a solid, what are all the various parts we need to consider in engineering graphics perspective in a solid's body. And then now what are all the various possible cases that are in which ways the solid is going to be placed with respect to the horizontal plane and vertical plane, and how to we can draw the front and top views of such solids. So what are all the unique features in each and every cases we can see first. So in that way, the very first case I am going to give you is solid axis parallel to HP and VP. See here, already I have told you the solid's location or the solid's position here is always given with respect to its axis and HPVP. So we need not to bother about what about the side surface of the solid is with respect to HP and VP. What about the base of the solid with respect to HP and VP? We need not to deal in that peculiar manner. We need to consider the axis condition of the solid with respect to HP and VP. Based on that only the cases are categorized. Okay. In that, solid axis parallel to HP and VP is the first case, and the second case, solid axis parallel to one plane and inclined to another. This is actually the second case. The second case may be further divided into two variants, that is solid axis parallel to HP and inclined to VP, and then solid axis parallel to VP and inclined to HP. And the third case is solid axis perpendicular to one plane and parallel to another plane. In that also we can have two more variants, that is solid axis parallel to VP and perpendicular to HP, further parallel to HP and perpendicular to VP, and finally the fourth case is solid axis inclined to both HP and VP. This is the last case. I think it's visible in the board. Yeah. So these four cases are possible in the case of solids position with respect to the horizontal plane and vertical plane. First we can see one by one how the solid will be look like in a particular case. Thereafter we can go for solving the problem. First, the solid axis parallel to HP and VP. Axis parallel to both HP and VP, just like the straight line. So here your axis is very similar to, not, it's actually a straight line only. Axis actually an imaginary line. It is considered inside the solid in a particular place. That is, in the case of the prism, the axis is nothing but the line connecting the base center and face center. And in the case of a pyramid, the axis is nothing but the line connecting the center of the base and the apex point. In that way only we are considering the axis as a straight line. So in the straight line case, the previous chapter, in the previous unit, in the straight line chapter, we discussed various cases for projection of the straight lines. What are they actually? Straight line parallel to both HP and VP, straight line perpendicular to one plane and parallel to another plane, and a straight line inclined to one plane and parallel to another plane, and a straight line inclined to both HP and VP. These four cases we discussed in the straight lines chapter. In the same way here also we are considering the axis. We are considering the axis instead of the straight line, and these four cases are derived. Okay, and the first one, solid axis parallel to HP and VP. So how a solid will be looking like in the first case? Just an graphical example. See here, this is what your VP and HP. If a solid needs to be placed its axis parallel to both HP and VP, how it look like? So in that way this will be look like. See here, this is nothing but your solid. Its axis, the imaginary line will be inside the solid, and you see here the axis of the straight line is now parallel to both HP and VP. You need not to consider about what are all the relations between the long edge and the VP or shorter edge with the HP. You need not to consider these things. They may be in some existing form. You need to consider only the condition of axis with respect to VP and HP. The axis of this solid is now parallel to both HP and VP. This need to be only considered. And in the second case, solid axis parallel to one plane and inclined to another plane. So before going to discuss about the second case, we can go and discuss the third case because it's very simple one. See here, so in the HP and VP environment, I am considering solid axis perpendicular to one plane and parallel to another plane. That may be parallel to VP and perpendicular to HP, or parallel to HP and perpendicular to VP. Let me to consider parallel to VP and perpendicular to HP. A solid axis, when a solid placed in the HP VP environment, particularly in the first quadrant, the axis of the solid is parallel to VP and perpendicular to HP. Then how the solid will be standing in that environment? In this way. In this way only the solid is placed in the first quadrant. That is, the axis of the solid is parallel to VP. It is parallel to VP and perpendicular to HP. Perpendicular to HP. So you need not to consider about the rest of the edges, side edges, base edges, face edges, how they are looking, how they are having relation with VP and HP. You need not to worry about that until they mentioned specifically in the question. So now this is nothing but the condition of the solid with respect to HP and VP. So always the condition of the solid with respect to HP and VP is defined based on the position of the axis of the solid. Okay. So high priority need to be given for the solid axis when you are going to explain its location with respect to HP and VP. And the same way, if the solid axis is parallel to HP and perpendicular to VP, then the solid will be looking like that. See here, this is nothing but the condition of the solid. See, the axis of the solid is now parallel to HP, and perpendicular to VP, This condition is also coming under the same category. These two categories we just discussed. Parallel axis parallel to VP and perpendicular HP, parallel to HP and perpendicular to VP. Okay, both are coming under same category. Axis inclined parallel to one plane and perpendicular to another plane. And now we can go for discussing the second case, which is nothing but solid axis parallel to one plane and inclined to another plane. In specific, in first, solid axis parallel to HP and inclined to VP. So how the solid will be placed in the position? See, in that way. So in that way you need to place the solid in order to have the axis of the solid parallel to HP and inclined to VP. See here, the axis of the solid is now parallel to the horizontal plane and it is having some inclination with the vertical plane. That's why I calling this case as solid axis parallel to HP and inclined to VP. 90 degree is also an inclination only. But if the inclination is 90 degree, it's specially denoted as perpendicularity. Rest of the inclinations are coming under simply inclination in our terms. Okay. And when you want to place a solid, when it is axis parallel to VP and inclined to HP, that way you need to place. See how I am placing it. See here, the axis of the solid is inclined to HP and parallel to VP. Axis of the solid is inclined to HP and parallel to VP. And the last case, we just discussed these two cases, and the last case, solid axis inclined to both HP and VP. The axis should not maintain parallel with HP or with VP. They need to be have inclination with both HP and VP. This is nothing but the last case. So I think in the hand drawing it's not will be accurate, but I will try up to some extent. See here, now the solid axis is inclined to HP as well as inclined to VP. Inclined to HP as well as inclined to VP. It is not parallel to HP or parallel to VP. With both principal planes, it is having some inclination, the axis of the solid. So this is nothing but the last case. Solid axis inclined to both HP and VP. So with these all cases, it is possible to draw the front and top views of the solid. We are going to do that, but in our syllabus content, we are restricted with working up to the third case only. We are not going to work with the fourth case. We are going to work with the up to the third case only. It's possible to draw the front and top views of the solid when its axis is inclined to both HP and VP, but we are not going to do that. Okay, let me to rub off the board. Now, how we are going to have our front and top views? What we are actually going to have? Anything which is not imaginable or anything which is more complex, not like that. Like your straight lines chapter and a planes chapter, here also the outputs, that is our front and top views, are just the appearance of the solid with respect to its corresponding view, whether it is front view or top view. Simply saying, if you have a solid in that way, say it is a cylinder, if you suppose to draw the front and top views of the solid, for example, the cylinder is placed in the first quadrant, it is your VP and that's your HP. If the solid cylinder is placed in the first quadrant with some specifications, that is the cylinder is placed 20 mm above the horizontal plane and 20 mm in front of the vertical plane with some specification, and the diameter of the cylinder may be 30 mm and height of the cylinder may be 50 mm. In that way we are having some specifications related to the dimensional feature of the solid and the distance of the solid with respect to HP and VP. Now how to produce the front and top views? Very simple, as usual only. In order to get the front view, you need to see the solid, just stand in front of the vertical plane, and the view obtained as usual in your orthographic projection concept. So this is nothing but the view you are obtaining. The rectangle will be the front view of this cylinder. For this cylinder, the front view will be rectangle. Based on the type of the solid, the front view may vary. Just imagine what you will see when you look at a cylinder by seeing it in front. Yes, rectangular bounded plane view only you are going to have. It's a 2D view. It's not a 3D view. It's a 2D view. And when you are supposed to draw the top view of the object, you need to look it from the top. That is, your visual rays should be perpendicular to the horizontal plane. In that way, you need to stand and look the solid. And what you will get in the horizontal plane as your top view? A circle. A pure circle will be obtained as the top view. Here I am drawing it as an ellipse, just as a 3D illustration. But in exact, you are going to get a circle only as a top view. So this front view and top view are nothing but the projections of this cylinder. When you combinedly drawn them in the paper, that is in the XY environment, in the top view you need to draw a circle, and in the front view you need to draw a rectangle. So this front view and this will be your top view. By reading this front and top view, you should be able to recognize the object, that is, it is a cylinder. So this is nothing but understanding the language of engineers. Engineering graphics, engineering drawing is actually a language of engineers. Why we are calling it as a language of engineers? Because engineers only able to understand this language. If you ask anyone who is not yet studied engineering graphics and just read this front and top views and say the object, they can't. Definitely. But if I ask you to identify the object by reading the front and top views, easily you can say it is actually a square prism. Easily you can say it is a square prism. So combinedly we are using the front and top views combinedly in order to judge the type of the object. So this is nothing but language, okay, of engineers. Just a trial. Lot of things are there to graphically represent the physical objects in the paper in order to understand the concept what we are going to say to the other engineers. So this is nothing but your top view and front view. What we already did in our straight lines chapter and the planes chapter, the same we are going to do for producing the front and top views of the solids. And based on the type of the problem, the workload may vary. Based on the type of the object, the workload may vary. But the concept in all the questions is very same. We are not going to do anything new. We are going to do the actual thing for the new objects. And let me to start with a question. Okay, along with the question we can study how to produce the front and top views of a solid when it is placed in the first quadrant. Very simple object we can start, maybe a square prism. A square prism of side 30 mm is resting on HP by its base. With one of the base edges being perpendicular to VP. The axis of the solid is 60 mm long and perpendicular to HP and parallel to VP. Draw its projections. So this is what the question now we are going to process. And before answering the question in the XY environment, first we need to completely read the question once and completely understand what the examiner going to say with you. Okay. And first recognize the object. The object given is a square prism. A square prism. I think you know what is a square prism. See, when we are involving in the classroom, when I read a question, when I discuss a question, in your mind, try to bring out the object virtually. If I am saying a square prism, in your mind you have to prepare a square prism. You know how the square prism is looking like. So prepare a square prism in your mind. Step by step in the question, when I am reading, you have to adapt all the conditions with your square prism and make it in the right way to recognize the actual environment. So this practice will improve your creativity. The meantime, improve your virtual ability to draw the objects in your mind first. Thereafter, you can copy them from your mind into the paper. Okay. And the square prism is the given object. The side of the base, the side term is denoting the base side length of the object. Okay. Some terms will be given in very short manner. So we have to understand it. The side, prism of side 30 mm is resting on HP. The object is actually resting on HP by its base. By its base. See, the object can rest on HP by any of the element in it. For example, see, it is actually as a square prism. It's not actually a square prism. For example, it's a square prism. If you suppose to make it rest on the horizontal plane, what are all the possibilities? You can make it rest on the horizontal plane with the base completely. Or you can make it rest on the horizontal plane by its side surface. The side surface. That also possible. And you can make it rest on the horizontal plane with a base edge alone. A line contact may be established when you make it rest on the HP with one edge alone. Or you can make it rest on the HP with a corner alone. That also possible. That also possible. So in the multiple ways, the possibilities are there for a solid to be rest on the horizontal plane by its base or by its side face, by a side edge or by a base edge or by a side edge or by a base corner. These all possibilities are there. Among these all, under which possibility the solid is resting in the current question? It is resting on the horizontal plane by its base. By its base. Okay, it is resting by its base. Any further conditions or constraints given along with that? Yes. With one of the base edges being perpendicular to VP. One of the base edges being perpendicular to VP, because square prism can rest on the horizontal plane by its base. In that way or in this way, in any form, it can rest on the horizontal plane. But particularly in which way it is resting? When it is resting on the horizontal plane by the base, one base edge. How many base edges are there? 4 base edges are there. I am not going to consider all the 4 edges. Any one base edge should be perpendicular to VP. Should be perpendicular to VP. So in that way you need to rest your solid in the horizontal plane. And then the axis of the solid is 60 mm long. What is the indirect meaning of this word? The axis of the solid is 60 mm long. Nothing but the height of the solid. The height of the solid. Axis length is nothing but height of the solid. The solid height is 60 mm. And perpendicular to HP, parallel to VP. This term is just denoting under which category the question is asked. 4 different cases we discussed just off. Under all the 4 cases, this coming under one case. Solid axis perpendicular to one plane and parallel to another plane. Specifically perpendicular to HP and parallel to VP. But one more thing I want to add here. By considering all the previous words in the question, you need not to have this condition, because this resting condition is indirectly given in the question itself in the previous words. See here, one term is there. By its base, the solid is resting on HP by its base. So what is the only one possible case? Axis perpendicular to HP and parallel to VP. It's the only possible case when the solid is resting on HP by its base. No other 3 cases are possible in that. So within that words it's enough to clearly give you the position of the solid with respect to HP and VP. Further, sometimes in question the additional statement may be given in order to confuse you or in order to make you clearly understand the concept, whatever it may be. It's based on your mental stability. Some persons will get confused because of over conditions. More than one condition pointing a same target will confuse the reader sometimes. It's based upon the mental ability of the reader. Some readers will strengthen their decision based on number of conditions given. So it's up to you. But be clear with reading the questions. Everything here given are simple only. Nothing is more complex. So you have to clearly read the question and clearly decide what is exactly given in the question. For that, you need to have some experience. Practicing with the number of problems only will give you more experience in order to face the questions without any issues. Okay. Let's start to solve this question. So first, you need to draw the XY line. I just drawn the XY line. So before getting into that, roughly we can have an estimate of what we are going to get. It's actually a rough work. You need not to do it in your paper. Just for your demonstration purpose, I am doing this in the VP and the HP environment. As per the problem statement, let me to place the object here. A square prism is going to rest on HP by its base. Okay. The meantime, you need to maintain one of the base edges being perpendicular to VP. So I am going to maintain one of the base edges being perpendicular to VP. See here, this is nothing but the edge I am tagging. Okay, this is the edge what I am pointing out. This edge I made it perpendicular to VP, and then I am completing the rest of the edges. And then complete the drawing of the solid. So this is the 3D environment. I just drawn the solid which is standing on the horizontal plane by its base, and one base edge is now perpendicular to the vertical plane. If you are supposed to draw the front and top views of the solid, the front view will be obtained in the vertical plane based on the solid's height. The front view obtained will be a rectangle, and the top view will be a square, and here the object is actually resting on the HP. So for demonstration purpose only I am extending the view. So you will get a square base as your top view and a rectangle as your front view. Now let me to discuss something about the dimensions of the front and top views I am obtaining. So the square side of the base of the top view will be equal to the side of the square prism. The square prism side is 30 mm actually. The same 30 mm here you can get. In the same way, the axis height of the solid is given as 60 mm. The same 60 mm will be the longer edge of the rectangle which is obtained as the front view, and here the dimension is the same 30. So this is what we are going to draw, the front and top views. I am not going to draw the 3D view of the solid in our paper, in our XY environment, because in the XY environment we are now going to draw only the 2D sketch. Okay, a plain view only we are going to draw. For that we need not to have a 3D environment, and anything here you are drawing should be with respect to the XY line. Maybe it is above XY line or below XY line. You should not say in front of VP or above HP here. You should say only above XY or below XY based on the condition of the solid. And just I drawn the XY line, how to start the answer? Above XY or below XY, where to start the answer? For that, the regular checkpoint questions you can ask now. What are they? Where should be the base and how should be the base? Where should be the base and how should be the base? These two are nothing but the basic check post questions in our planes chapter and solids chapter. So based on the results we are getting with these two questions only, we can start our answer. So first ask the question, where should be the base? This is nothing but the condition of the solid. This is nothing but the condition of the solid. The solid is standing like that. So in that case, in which view you will get the base view of the solid? The base view of the solid here is a square. Okay, a square. The square will be obtained in which view? In front view or in top view? In top view only. In top view only. So where should be the base? The answer is in the top view. So you need to start your answer in the top view. Always in any question in projection of planes or in projection of solids, you should start with the base view. Okay, see here, when you draw the front and top views of an object, for example it is the front view and that is a top view. So among these two, this is nothing but the base view of the solid, irrespective of the type of the solid. Okay, irrespective of whether it is a pyramid or prism or solid of revolution cylinder, cone, whatever it may be, irrespective of the type of the solid, this is nothing but the base. The view which is showing you the actual base of the solid is nothing but base view, and that is nothing but the lateral view. Lateral view, which is showing the lateral appearance of the object, is nothing but lateral view, irrespective of the pyramid, prism or cylinder or cone, whatever it may be. So it is base view and it is lateral view. Always you need to start your answer by drawing the base view only, because by base view only you can start it. So in this question also, the base view is a square. It is obtained in the top view. Up to this much we decided so far, and then now I am going to draw a square base in the top view. In which way I need to draw? That is the second check post question. How should be the base? Where should be the base? You identified. It is in the top view. And how should be the base? Because a square base can be drawn in any way. In this way you can draw, and in that way you can draw, and also a square, or in some specific inclined way also you can draw. Case 1, 2, 3, these three are possible. So which case is better after for this question? It's given in the question. We need to maintain one of the base edges being perpendicular to VP. In that way your base view should be there. So out of 1, 2, 3 cases, the first case will obey the rule given in the question. Its one base edge is perpendicular to VP. Then you can go for the first choice. This is nothing but how should be the base. Not only this question, in all questions in projection of solids, you need to process these two checkpoints at the beginning of your answering process. Thereafter only you can go for answering. If you did anything wrong in these two stages, definitely your entire answer will be wrong. Even you followed the change of position method in a perfect manner and everything is followed as per the procedure, definitely your answer will be wrong. you will get an answer which is not suitable for this question. It is also an answer, but it's not suitable for the question. So automatically this will be the wrong answer. So you have to be very careful when you are processing with these two checkposts without any rush, without any confusion. Patiently you have to approach these two questions and start your answer. Now I need to draw a square with a 30 mm this side, and I need to maintain one base edge being perpendicular to the vertical plane. Okay, just drawn a square of 30 mm base. Don't forget to mark the dimensions which are all given in the question. Immediately you have to name the corners of the square base. See here, one more point. Each and every corner of the object should be named. Here, actually in the top view, what I am covering is not only the base surface of the solid. In addition to the base surface, the face surface is also in this top view. So how many corners are in this solid actually? A basic question to you. If it is a square prism, how many corners are there in this solid? In the base, 1, 2, 3, 4. In the face, 1, 2, 3, 4. Totally 8 number of corners are in the square prism. Okay. So that 8 corners need to be addressed with the help of some particular terms with alphabets or with numerals. In our class we can follow a formality. We can name the base corners with the help of the alphabets A, B, C, D, and the face corners with the help of the numerals, that is 1, 2, 3, 4. It is not the standard. It's not prescribed in any book or in any standard articles. Just for our understanding, we are going to follow it for our convenience in our class. Maybe in some other classes they are using A, B, C for the base corners and A1, B1, C1 for the face corners, or 1, 2, 3, 4 for base corners, 1 dash, 2 dash, 2 dash for the face corners, whatever it may be. We need not to worry about that. In our class what we are going to follow is the base corners are going to be named with the alphabets A, B, C, D. The face corners will be named with the numerals 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So in that way, if you try to give the name for this square base, you need to use 8 elements, because in the top view itself we covered both base corners and face corners. So just first name the base corners A, B, C and D. In addition, you need to name 1, 2, 3, 4. Why I am name the A and 1 in the same point? Because they are in the same point. Here you see A is here, and now point number 1 is also there. When you look from the top, these two will coincide with each other. So when you draw the top view, automatically in the top view here you are going to get both A and 1. And then we are already having a rule from our projection of straight lines chapter. Whenever you are supposed to mark the name for 2 corners in the same point, what you need to do, you have to enclose any one name inside a bracket, preferably not preferably, based on the condition, the end which is invisible to our eyes will be go inside the bracket. So in that way, if you consider, if you are seeing from the top, the 1 2 3 4 are the face corners, A B C D are the base corners, and when you look from the top, automatically the 1 2 3 4 is visible to your eyes and A B C D are invisible to your eyes. So the competition between 1 and A in this point, who is visible and who is invisible? Who is invisible? And A is invisible. So you need to put bracket around A. The same way here B and there C and there D. And don't consider that alphabets always inside the bracket. Based on the type of view, this will change. Okay, based on the type of view, this will change. Let's go on process with the top view. Here, the only one work we are having remain in the top view. You need to draw the projectors for the current top view towards the front view area. Then we can go for drawing the front view. Let me to rub off the board. Just draw the projectors from each and every corner of the object from the top view. Totally 8 corners are there. See, this one projector is common to 1AD4. Okay, common to 1AD4. Because they are coincident with each other when you are supposed to draw the projector from top view to front view area. And then draw the projector for the remaining corners. See, this projector is common for B2C3. For all these corners, this one projector is enough. And then here I am going to draw the front view. The front view here is nothing but a rectangle. Rectangle's dimensions we know. The height of the rectangle is nothing but the axis height of the solid. And the width of the rectangle is nothing but which is obtained by the end projectors. And one more point here, you can identify the axis in the top view itself. How to find the center point of the square? Generally by connecting the diagonals and find out the cross point. So here let me do find out the center point of this square base. Do these things with the help of the 2H pencil, okay? The actual body parts of the object should be drawn with the HB pencil. The rest of the construction works, finding the center by drawing the diagonals, these things should be drawn with the help of the 2H pencil. And here I just identify the center point of the square base. This point what I mentioned here is nothing but the top view of the axis. The axis is in this problem is perpendicular to HP and parallel to VP. So if you see it from the top, this will look like just a point only. Okay, that point is nothing but here. You need to project it towards the front view area. In order to mark the axis in the front view, just I am projecting it. Okay. And then the front view is nothing but the rectangle, as I told earlier, and the height of the rectangle will be 60 mm. That is the axis height of the solid given in the question, 60 mm. So first with that height I can have a dimension line. And draw a leader line. And now you can cover the actual solid portion with a HB pencil. That's it. This is nothing but the front view of your square prism. Why I am started it drawing from the XY line itself? Why I am calculating the height from the XY line itself? Because it is standing on the XY line. It is not floating above the XY line with some distance. If it is happens like that, definitely I need to consider that gap from the XY line above the XY line, and then I needed to start to calculate the 60 mm height. Here I am started to calculating the 60 mm height from the XY line itself, because the object is resting on the HP. And here you need to name the corners. See, what is the name of that corner? Here you need to name 1, 2, 3, 4 corners. What is the name of this corner? You need to just verify the projectors, corresponding projectors. Actually, this projector is common for, already I have told, A1, D4. So 4 points A1, D4 are traveling along with this projector, but at the base this projector dropping the points A dash and D dash, A dash and D dash, and the numerals will be dropped at the face. Who are they? 1 and 4, 1 dash and 4 dash. Now also a problem is there. Out of 1 and 4, who is visible? Out of A and D, who is visible? This can be decided by seeing the object from the front. Just to see the object from the front. D and A. Okay, I am seeing it from the front. D and A. Who is visible to you? Who is invisible to you? A is invisible to you. And then put bracket for A, and D is visible to you. Just left it without any bracket. In the same way, 4 and 1 here. 1 dash comma 4 dash. 4 and 1. When you look from the front, 4 is in front of you and 1 is just behind the 4. So 1 has to be go inside the bracket. In the same way, here also you need to name. This projector is carrying B, C, 2, 3. Out of these 4 points, in the base the projector will drop C dash and B dash. And in the face it will drop 2 dash and 3 dash. And again, out of C and B, when you look from the front, C is visible to you, B is invisible to you. So put bracket around B. In the same way, 3 and 2 here, 2 and 3. 3 is visible to you when you look at from the front, and 2 is invisible. So put bracket around 2. And here the axis is there. In our engineering graphics, in order to draw the axis, we are following a specific format. That is, the axis can be drawn with the format long dashed dotted line. In this format only we are going to denote the axis. That is dashed and dotted line. Dashed and dotted line. In that way you need to mention the axis. Always axis should be drawn with the help of the 2H pencil. For your benefit, I am using some little bit extra darkness to be visible in the camera, but in your paper the axis should be very mild to be drawn with the 2H pencil. Okay, that's enough. This is nothing but the required front and top views of the required object which is given in the question. This is your top view and that's your front view. One more point I want to add here. Here the dimension is actually 30. You need not to mention it because the same dimension is mentioned in the some other view. If a particular dimension is mentioned in a particular view, you need not to repeat it mentioning in other views. It is already, the 30 is already mentioned in the top view, so you need not to repeat it here. Okay, and in this way you have to draw the front and top views of the solid. In the next problems the object may vary, but we are going to follow the same method.